Hello and welcome to the show. This is Molly White and Mary Browning together on More to the Story with Molly White. And this is going to be a little special show. It's going to be a shorter one today, but I wanted to interview my co host, Mary Browning, because she had an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. with a group of women to do some recordings. And I kind of just wanted to interview her about that because I didn't go and I wasn't there in all the action. So, welcome, Mary. And why don't you tell us about what occurred last week and the importance of it?
Thank you, Molly. I'm so glad to be a guest today on More to the Story with Molly White. I went to DC with a group of other women. And we had been invited by Susan B. Anthony, and Susan B. Anthony is looking for people who have experienced the trauma of abortion that also have had healing and are ready to speak out about that. They work with the Charlotte Lozier Institute. And in that institute, there's a variety of research they conduct, but they have learned the role of coerced, forced, and pressured abortion in the experiences of women with abortion. So, part of what the Susan B. Anthony group is wanting to do is have the public hear more of the stories that really counter the idea and the lie that abortion somehow provides freedom to women. Many times, Molly, as you and I know, it really wasn't the woman's choice in the first place. It's something she was either pressured into doing or she went along with because she didn't have the support of people important to her and that she thought she needed, or for me, that I thought I needed at the time. And so that's what this was about. There were six women, four of whom had abortion in their past and had been pressured or coerced in different ways. Two of the women, one had been pressured by her husband to take the abortion pill, which she started, and then she did the reversal. So she had with her her little girl, who was not quite two. And there was another woman, Molly, who is blind. And when she was pregnant, she and her husband on the ultrasound were told there was a mass in her baby, and there were a variety of horrible fetal anomalies that could be affecting him. And she was urged 8 times by her doctor to have an abortion. She resisted because it really wasn't something she considered as an option. And when her baby boy was born, he had some calcification in his liver that resolved itself. So he needed no medical intervention at all.
Wow.
So there were different types of abortion. Some of the women were pressured by the father of the baby. Some were pressured by other people close to them. But it showed the
Or pressured
role,
by the abortion industry.
or the abortion industry. That's exactly right.
Hmm.
And oh, that is so right. Thank you for reminding me, Molly, because that is a big part of it. And we talked to a guest just recently who mentioned that the abortion facility didn't talk options, didn't, and actually colluded and encouraged lying to parents and using a false name and not being able to see the ultrasound. So I think the Susan B. Anthony group, through the ways they are magnifying the voices of the harm of abortion and the role of pressure and force and coercion by other people, how that affects the woman's decision or the woman's experience of actually having an abortion.
Right. And it's really to counter uh, the abortion industry propaganda that abortion is a woman's choice. It's a woman's right. It's her choice, her body. And so, what the Susan B. Anthony group wants to do, from what I'm understanding, is to educate voters, educate people that it's not always a woman's choice. In fact, what are the percentages, do you remember, Mary, of women who felt forced, pressure, coerced, or they didn't have any other choice?
Well, what the Charlotte Lozier Institute had, there were about 226 women out of 1,000 where the abortion was not consistent with their values. And over 60% of those women were pressured, coerced, or forced into abortion. So those are the statistics the Charlotte Lozier Institute had and discussed with us last week. And they wanted the public to know that the role of pressure and coercion is much bigger than we know.
Right.
And as you know, even in my own story, when the father wanted an abortion, I ended up going along, but I don't think I would have ever even considered it or thought of it had he not been excited about our having a baby. And I'm
Right.
not blaming him for the outcome. I'm just saying that's the reality of my values and who I was, and where I think I might have been had the situation been different, had there been someone supportive in my world.
Right.
And I think for me, it's important to speak out in this situation so the public has the more to the story, because because of the idea, and as you said, the propaganda that women need this, that women want this, that it's an option, it gives women freedom. Because you and I know, Molly, there's a lot that comes with this, a lot of baggage that is not discussed, that we're trying to get the word out about in More
Right.
to the Story with Molly White.
Right. And it brings up another thing that, legal abortion really opens up the door for exploitation of pregnant women. It
Yes.
really does. Expect, and those numbers are staggering. Over 60% of women in these research, and there's more research out there.
Yes.
If you want to go get research, go to afterabortion.org or the Lozier Institute,
Charlotte Lozier.
Charlotte Lozier Institute. But there's information out there. And so for me, what legal abortion does is really, it's not for the woman, the pregnant woman, it's for others who can pressure, coerce, force, deceive a woman into having an unwanted abortion. My first one was totally deception. I was lied to. I wasn't sure that's what I wanted to do. I had questions all the answers I got were lies. And I was hurried back, before I could change my mind. And so that, that was traumatizing in itself. But I didn't get the information I needed. I didn't get the support I needed. My second one was severely pressured, and even wanting to back out. The doctor even lied to me and said it couldn't happen. So that's a common story that we're hearing out there.
It is common, Molly, unfortunately. So the idea that these are fully informed decisions of consent that women are making is just really a fallacy.
Yeah.
And one of the things I might mention, of the 4 women that were in DC last week working with Susan B. Anthony, 2 of those women never were able to have children. And
Yeah.
that's the other piece of this idea that you can plan parenthood, which is the name, as if you can decide and play God as to when you do and don't conceive and have children, is
Right.
really, it's just part of the propaganda. And the Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry and those connected are just really getting rich
Right.
off of the exploitation of women, and especially women with unplanned pregnancies that
Yeah.
really are kind of caught off guard. Yes.
Yeah, and just leaving a wake of destruction in its path. Nothing good comes out of an abortion decision.
Mhm.
We might think, oh, that was the best thing that happened to me, but that's not going to last very long. Sooner or later, you're going to come to terms with the fact that you're missing a child because you're missing a child, and all of those things that come with that. So the Susan B. Anthony group is an incredible pro-life group, very well researched, very involved in the pro-life movement, and we thank God for them. Now, is there a particular purpose that they're doing these videos, or is it something that we're going to be seeing on television, and how are they going to be used?
They are doing a campaign in social media and on television, as far as I understand, Molly, and they're wanting information to get out in the states that have questions about what is the role of abortion or what should it be, like the states that have the initiative petitions on the ballot and to put abortion in the Constitution. those states that have that on their ballot in November. They definitely want the public to know the more to the story, to put
Right,
it in our terms.
right.
And they're also wanting, they're specifically calling out Vice President Harris to visit pregnancy resource centers because of her move to defund pregnancy resource centers and her alliance with abortion facilities. So I think they're wanting to educate the public in a way that that moves people to action when it matters.
Right. When you're fully informed, then you can make better decisions, correct? Fully
Yes.
informed not only about having an abortion, which is important, you need to be fully informed about that, but as a voter or as someone who wants to take a position on this issue, you need to be fully informed. You need to have
Yes.
all of the facts, all the information, plus the testimonies. It's the testimonies of personal
Yes.
experience with abortion and how that impacted our life afterwards is what's most powerful in changing hearts and minds. I truly believe it. I've seen it happen. You've seen it happen, Mary.
Yes.
And we just want to encourage our listeners and our viewers, if you are intrigued and want to host a listening session, even at
Yes.
your church or with your state representative, saying, hey, I've heard these stories, I've been listening to this podcast, you need to know this information because it helps educate you on the issue, then please contact, More to the Story and with Molly White, and we can make that happen. I think there's a website. I don't know if there's information like that on operationoutcry.org, isn't there, Mary?
I believe so. Yes.
So that's another important thing. It's just important to get the truth out there. We've got to counter the lie of the abortion industry that it's women's health care. Abortion is
Yes.
not health care. It causes more health problems, that it's a woman's right to choose. Well, most of the time, women don't have that right to choose. It's taken from them. It's someone else making that decision for them. And if you've had that experience, we would love to help you.
Yes.
Go to the website operationoutcry.org, and there's resources for healing. There's resources if you're feeling forced or pressured or coerced into doing something you don't want to do. And I think one thing more I would like to add is that don't make a long-term regrettable decision from a short-term crisis. Work through those fears, work through that situation, because in 9 months you're going to have the love of your life. I mean, pregnancy outcomes are, when you give birth to your baby, whether you parent your baby or you place your baby for adoption, it is the healthiest, happiest, best times for your life. I don't want to discount that placing your baby for adoption is not difficult. I can only imagine. I have not done that before, but your baby has life and a chance of life to be loved
Yes.
and taken care of. And you're actually doing the bravest thing in the world by doing that, and the most selfless thing by having your child and, giving it a better life.
And I might mention, Molly, because we really do want to talk to both groups. Those people out there that need to be educated, that haven't heard this part of the story, those people that are find themselves unexpectedly pregnant, and those people on the other side of a decision they regret, such as ourselves, that we did make the decision of abortion or we did experience abortion. I'll put it that way.
Mhm.
No matter which side of the table or which side of this issue you're on, it's important for you to have information and to receive the healing, the hope and healing.
Yeah.
And also, if you are on the other side of abortion, and what some of the things we're saying today are calling to mind for you the notion that you would like to be involved or engaged, you can lend your voice. Well, thank you. I see our producer is running the helpline number at the bottom of the. So we
Mhm.
do want you to get help. You can call the H3 helpline at 866-721. I missed the last part of that. Or you can log on to operationoutcry.org. But you can sign a declaration at operationoutcry.org. or you can call a helpline such as the H3 helpline, and you can find help and help for yourself. So
Right.
we do want you, if you're on the other side of abortion and you want to lend your voice, you can sign a declaration and we'll be in contact with you. And you don't have to be visible. Molly and I have chosen to be visible,
Mhm.
but you can use your voice in a way, or you can use your experience in a way that can make a difference.
Absolutely. And these declarations are really like questionnaires, and they'll take you through a list of questions about your abortion experience, whether you were informed, whether you felt pressured, the different scenarios that happened through this experience, how it affected you afterwards. You can, like Mary said, you can just be anonymous and just use your initials, just use your first name, or you can fully disclose it. But I do note that when you're filling out a declaration, if you haven't gone through the healing process, this will be the first step to me. The first step is acknowledging it and telling it. That's your first
Mhm.
step to healing. It really is. And then we encourage you to go through abortion recovery. I encourage
Yes,
everyone that I know, no matter how long it's been,
that's
since
right.
they've had their abortion, to go through abortion recovery, because you just don't realize the depth of hurt
That's right.
and I don't know, risks, or what would I say, consequences, or how it affects you as a human being, as a woman and as a man. And so we do highly recommend that, because we want you to have the fullness of life. We want
Yes.
to walk in freedom and walk in healing and walk in peace, and not have to carry that burden, especially in secrecy, with you anymore.
That's right. And I might just add, Molly, that you and I have met women on this podcast who have had some significant mental health diagnoses that later was determined the source of their mental health struggles was really their abortion trauma. It was really not these significant mental health diagnoses they had been labeled with for years. And so I just think we may not be fully aware of the role that abortion has played in our lives, and it's worth exploring. You owe it to yourself to explore that.
Amen.
Thank you, Molly.
Amen. Yeah, yourself and your family and your relationship.
Yes,
I mean, everything is benefits positively when you go through recovery. When you make the choice to do something for me, then so many other people are going to benefit from that as well as yourself. So, well, Mary, is there anything else about the SBA that you want our viewers or our listeners to know about, or before we go?
I would say watch and pay attention. They are interested in you understanding which politicians and which candidates stand for the values that you stand for and the truth about those issues. So I would say pay attention and vote.
Right. Pay attention, get very well educated. That's what
Yes.
we're asking for you. Well,
Yes.
thank you, Mary. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
on and giving us all the update about SBA and ministering to our listeners and our viewers. And we look forward to seeing y'all again on More to the Story with Molly White.